In this video tutorial, we're going to look at the hiragana sa, shi, su, se, so. That's how you'd write them in Romaji. This is what they look like in the printed form. Sa, shi, su, se, so. And this is what they look like when you handwrite them. Sa, shi, su, se, so. You might have noticed something about this pattern that in English it doesn't sound quite regular. You've got sa, su, se, so, but what's shi doing here? That's because Romaji is representing a sound which is not natural to English or European languages. Let's start with looking at sa. First, let's look at its printed form. Here you can see that there are only two strokes. There's the first stroke going across here, and the second stroke continues all the way around. But when you handwrite this hiragana, that changes. Just like the hiragana ki, you can see that instead of two strokes, ich, ni, all the way around, there's actually three. Let's see how it works. You've got your first stroke going across this way, that's ichi. Your second stroke ni, and again, you can tick off like that if you wish, although it's not compulsory. And then you must imagine this circular shape because it's not there when you handwrite it. And then you only do the bottom half, and there you get sa. Now the story for this is a little bit gruesome, I'm afraid, and we're going to be borrowing the word samurai to remember this sa. Sa for samurai. Now samurai were all allowed to carry two weapons with them, a long sword and a short dagger. And with these weapons, they had the perfect right to discipline the inhabitants of ancient Japan as they saw fit. And sometimes they did use this, and we're going to imagine it if it's not too gory for you. Because the top here, the top stroke, that's actually going to be the hilt of the samurai sword. Now it's not terribly accurate because they're not really that big, but I think it works. Okay, so across there is the samurai sword hilt. Coming down is the samurai blade. Kicking off there, well, that's just because it's hiragana sa and not really a samurai sword at all. So if you want to be more accurate, just leave that little ticky bit off. So there we've got across is the hilt, down is the sword. And unfortunately, one of the peasants in ancient Japan perhaps did not bow down properly right to the ground when the samurai rode past, and he became so infuriated that he took his samurai sword and he removed the peasant's head, and all that was left was a slash. So here we have a cross and down, that's the samurai sword, and a slash where his sword was used. That's sa for samurai. Here's the mnemonic. A samurai chops off a head, slash. And if you've forgotten the stroke order, there it is. Ich across, ich ni, slash is your sun stroke. Next we have shi. That's S-H-I in Romaji. Shi, printed form, and shi, written form. Not much change there. Just one stroke for shi. Down we go. And there we have it. She has got beautiful hair. I'll try and make that clearer by drawing in her face. There she is. Oh, that's her nose. That's her mouth. That's her chin. There, her eyes. Now, she really isn't terribly beautiful, is she? But she's got beautiful long hair. She's got beautiful long hair. Here's the mnemonic for you. She's got, well, instead of beautiful, it's lovely here. It doesn't matter which. Lovely long hair. She has got lovely long hair. Next we have hiragana su. That's represented by S-U in Romaji. There it is, printed form su. And the written form is very similar, su. Su has just two strokes. We're going to do the top stroke first, obviously following the top to bottom, left to right. So there's stroke number ichi, coming down. Now when you get to this point, don't cheat and go all the way down and then draw a little circle. That's absolutely not allowed. You've got to go round the roller coaster and then down like that. And there we have su. Now what is it? Well, the cross stroke represents the ground or the horizon. Okay, so you've got the ground going across here, and Popping up out of the ground is this little shoot. There's a little shoot there. I'll draw some leaves so that you can imagine it better. There we are. There are two little green leaves. So we've got a little shoot up here. Now if we go down underneath the ground and we go round the roller coaster like we're supposed to, then that looks like the seed. That's a seed. And then down the bottom here is a shoot growing out. Now what's happening here is you've got the ground, you've got a little shoot, you've got a seed and a root, and soon, when that little shoot grows up into a great big tree, soon there will be a great big tree growing here. So that's su for soon. And here's your mnemonic. Soon there will be a big tree. And if you've forgotten it, check the stroke order here. Ichi, ichi, ni going down. Next we have hiragana se. That's written se in romaji. There it is when it's printed. And the handwritten form is very similar. Se. If I can remind you of the stroke order rule, which is top to bottom, left to right, you'll see that this hiragana does not follow the rule. It does go top because that across stroke is considered the top stroke because these two strokes come down further below. But then instead of going left to right, we actually go right, that's our second stroke, a little tick off, so that we can take our pen up to this stroke if we wish, but we don't need that ticky bit. And then our third stroke here is on the left, which is against the rule. Let's have a look at the mnemonic for this. Again, it's a little bit gory. What we've got here is we've got the cross stroke going first is the blade of the sword. It's that sword again. Then we've got the hilt of the sword coming down here. So you can see if you are holding it, your hand would go here. That would be the blade of the sword. And this, unfortunately, is a leg. And the sword has cut the leg off. So we have a se for severed leg. A severed leg. Now to draw this, we draw the blade of the sword first, the sword hilt, and then the leg comes down like this. Se for a severed leg. There's the mnemonic. A severed leg. A severed leg. Se. Stroke order. One across, second on the right, and third on the left. Finally, we have so. That's S-O in romaji, so. There it is in printed form, and the handwritten form looks like that. This one's easy because it's all in one. So we start on the left, we go across, and the first thing we do is draw a Z. It's as simple as that. And underneath we draw a C. Now you need to be aware that there's an alternative handwritten form, and that is where you take that top stroke and you write it independently, and it goes over here, and then you do the rest of the Z and the C. So the rest of the Z would go like that, and then the C down below. So don't be confused if you see that top stroke separate, because that's quite a valid alternative. Now the story for this is based around this letter looking like a Z and the bottom letter looking like a C. And if you go back to a previous story about the hiragana e, and you remember about that hiragana being teased dreadfully at school, well, this is another teasing story. Only in this case, it was actually the hiragana so, which was being teased. But the hiragana so had a very different way of handling it to the hiragana e. Remember, hiragana e got awfully upset and went home and cried and all of that. But the hiragana so dealt with it with a bit of attitude. Instead of getting upset, he looked at his tormentors straight in the eye and he went, "Yeah? What are you looking at? I am a ZC." So? That was his answer. So? And that is in fact the hiragana so, which is near enough to the English word so. So there we have hiragana so. There's your mnemonic. I'm a ZC. So?